My favorite game of all time for item loot is Diablo 2. Nothing comes to mind when I try to think of a game that can even compare to Diablo 2's itemization. My favorite combat system from a game comes from Elden Ring, so my project is about combining both of these things into one game. But we're not talking about the combat in this video, we're talking about the loot. My least favorite thing in a game is when loot has filler item classifications that have no purpose. I'm not talking about individual items, I'm talking about whole classes. So for example, in this project there is normal items, magic items, and unique items, and one is never more valuable than the other ultimately all the time. What do I mean by this? Well, in certain situations, a normal item will be better than a magic and a unique. In other situations, a magic will be better than a normal and a unique, and in other situations, a unique will be better than a magic and a normal. Most of the time, the unique is probably better. But before we talk about why, let's get into what each item classification does and why they're different. Normal items are the most common in game, and they can be combined with gems to create entirely new items. You cannot use a gem on a magic or unique item, only normal items can be used with gems. A magic item will roll guaranteed one item affix, that's an effect, in the form of a prefix or suffix. You can tell which one to roll by looking at the name. If it comes before, then it's a prefix. If it comes after, then it is a suffix. A magic item has a rare chance to roll both. A unique item is somewhat similar to a magic item, but they have affixes that only the unique item itself can roll. On top of that, a lot of the time they actually change fundamentally how an ability you use as a player works. For example, if you're wearing Justiciar's gauntlets and you strike an enemy with lightning spear, then any nearby target is struck with chain lightning. Now that we have a definition for each of these items, let's talk about situations where each one will be better. We'll start with normal items. In this hypothetical situation, let's say you're creating a build that wants to maximize damage using strength and heavy weapons. You could find a lot of very good magic items and unique items for your strength build. Let's say you're looking to maximize your one-hit damage. Well, there are lots of magic or unique items you could find that would be good for this, but the best thing for one-hit damage in this situation at the time of this video would be combining a heavy gem with one of the many ultra weapon item bases in the game. To combine this with one of these items have to be normal, making normal items in this classification one of the best for the specific use case. Now let's talk about a situation where a magic item could be the best for the situation. Oftentimes, uniques roll higher value affixes than their magic counterparts, meaning they have a higher chance at rolling a higher number. This is not true all the time, but most of the time. However, if you get lucky, a magic item can roll the same effect type on the prefix and the suffix, combining the two. So, in our new hypothetical situation, let's say you're doing a bleed build. Dracula's Grasp would be a great unique choice for you, as it offers lifesteal at plus 5 to 10, and bleed build up on all of your melee attacks at plus 8 to 12. However, if you want to prioritize bleed only, there is a better alternative out there. If you're lucky enough to get a magic item drop that rolls both a prefix and a suffix magical effect on it, and both the prefix and the suffix happen to roll the effect bleed buildup, which will have the prefix name of Sanguine and the suffix name of Bloodlust. If you also happen to roll the max value on each of these, it will have a better bleed buildup than the Dracula's Grasp, making it the better pair of gloves for a character who wants to prioritize bleed above all else. And now let's talk about a situation where uniques are the best item class. Generally speaking, uniques are the best item class most of the time. And if you're focusing on making a specific ability the best it can possibly be, then uniques are where you want to go. Every single active ability in the game, active ability meaning something you have to cast or use with an item and it's not just a passive, will have a unique in the game that changes how it performs in a positive way. The Pyromancer's Crown changes Fire Orb when fully charged into a meteor. Stormguard makes it so you conjure a whirlwind that pulls enemies in around you when using the weapon art Whirlwind. The Justiciar's Gauntlets, as mentioned earlier, causes chain lightning to strike any target you hit with Lightning Spear. The list goes on. Another thing that bothered me about some games that I tried to correct is that sometimes you'd see armor classes being worn by characters with abilities that don't quite fit the armor. For example, people in Elden Ring wearing the heaviest, most poise-heavy armor ever as a caster. I don't want to exclude that path, and I haven't, but I don't want to make it the best. So for that reason, armor pieces and equipment pieces in the game are naturally assigned hidden tags to them. For example, this leather piece in-game is actually tagged as a Barbarian and Druid item. This means that when it's rolled as a magic item, it cannot roll abilities that would give bonuses to something like a Knight or a Crusader, but it can roll bonuses for things that would affect a Druid or Barbarian. Now, there are plenty of affixes that can be rolled on anything, but generally speaking, ability-specific things, or things that thematically fit each class, Druid, Knight, Crusader, etc. will roll on their specific equipment items. Some have crossovers, like Druid and Barbarian, or Cleric and Crusader, and some are isolated as their own thing. So what's my goal with itemization, in terms of gameplay feel? My goal with itemization is to make an itemization system so interesting that you develop a chase for certain items that you want, and this all in its own right becomes a game within a game. Something to bring the player back time and time again, as well as make each run unique and different if you happen to find a different set of items that would benefit a character that you have. This, along with the combat, are two of the most important things in the game to me in terms of gameplay feel. I am of course speaking strictly on mechanics and not on game atmosphere via art and things of that nature. So we launched the public alpha demo about a month ago, and we've had about 1,000 people playtest and help look for bugs. So if you were one of those people who checked it out, you have my sincerest thanks. It is still live right now, and I plan to keep it live probably up until and after the game's full release. If any of this seems interesting to you, you can check out the Steam link below where you can try out the alpha demo. Be warned, there will be bugs. And you can also wishlist the game on Steam. Our goal for wishlist is 10,000. I'm being very transparent about the whole development process, so on screen now are the current number of wishlists we have. Thank you to everybody who has wishlisted the game. Shout out to Asher for doing the Steam artwork we currently have on the Steam page for the project. Shout out to Raph for the logo text. Here is a picture of the original artwork posted by Asher, as I have changed it a little bit. This version on screen now is after I made some adjustments. More from Asher linked below. And lastly, a special and immense thank you to my patrons. It is because of each and every one of you I get to keep doing this, so you have my sincerest gratitude. A special thank you to Halo Burner and Kino for their immense support on Patreon. Alright guys, that's all from me. If you are still here, thank you very much for watching. And also if you have any suggestions for the game, let me know in the comments below, and be sure to try out the demo if you haven't already. Alright guys, see you next time.